This is a video I actually wanted to make a long time ago. So in today's video, I'm going to be comparing minemenclub versus Lunar, the two dominant practice servers of the community. I'm sure all of you have heard about these servers. You know, if you're on like any other server, a faction server, Hypixel, people say, oh, duel me here instead, duel me Lunar, duel me minemenclub, you know? Of course, there's other small practice servers like Velt and Mythic and stuff like that, but none other compete with minemenclub and Lunar. Minemenclub is definitely holding the crown right now players-wise, but I wanted to go over some pros and cons in the two servers and give my opinion on what I think could be done to improve these servers. So before we get into it, my opinion is my opinion and nobody has to agree with me. I just want to put that out here right now. I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I can for this whole video, although I do have some bias towards the Lunar. I prefer their staff more. I'm just going to put that out in the beginning just so if you see any favoring, that this is why. I have some friends on the staff team and I like them better. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Let's start with pros because, you know, we optimistic up in here. So minemenclub is frequently updating practice. It almost feels like every time you log on, they've added something new, which is amazing. It's what's keeping practice alive today. They have a lot of enjoyable kits and they actually go out of their way to test stuff to see if people will like this kit. You know what I mean? Like boxing didn't come from nowhere. Boxing is pretty much Gapple, but without like armor breaking and armor saving and cringe stuff like that. Minemenclub also, it listens to community feedback a lot, I've noticed. If there's enough complaining about something, they'll actually do something about it. And a really good pro is that minemenclub has a really good anti-cheat. Like of course, no anti-cheat is perfect and you can cheat anywhere if you try hard enough, but minemenclub's anti-cheat is pretty solid and you don't encounter too many cheaters. Another good pro about minemenclub is that their chat is pretty active and people are actually talking in it. It's kind of like its own community, which is pretty cool. Not to say Lunar's isn't active at all, but like, I don't know, the same people are on every day on minemenclub. Minemenclub's rods and buckets for build UHC are amazing and absolutely dump on Lunar's. Despite having double the ping, the rods and buckets still feel amazing. My rods do not feel like 100 ms rods. They actually optimized it. So there's some cons I'd like to go over for minemenclub right away. Off the bat, you're at an immediate disadvantage logging on 1.8 on minemenclub if you're using a Lunar client, which most people do use. On 1.8, there's a miss hit cooldown, so you can click about probably 10 CPS before your sword will stop swinging sometimes for like 50 to 500 milliseconds. So a con I have about minemenclub, I stated earlier in this video that it would sound a little bit biased, but I'm not their staff, I've heard some very sketchy things from their staff. That's as deep as I'm gonna go into it with it, but I've heard some very sketchy things about the staff and the server overall, and that's something that can be fixed, so I'm not too upset about it, you know, like that's something that can be fixed in the long run. And another con I have with minemenclub is I don't know if this happens for everybody, but at least for me, I get almost double the ping I get on Lunar. Double. I get about 100 to 110 ms on minemenclub. I get like 65, 70 on Lunar, and it feels amazing. But overall, minemenclub as a server, honestly, right now, I'd probably rate it a 9. The only thing that could be fixed would probably be the ping and the staff. But I mean, the kits like Skywars, I can play the Skywars kit forever. As you can see in the background footage, I'm playing it, you know? I just wish I could have a little bit better ping on here, but oh well, there's nothing I can do about it. And complaining won't get me nowhere, so overall, again, I'd rate minemenclub probably a 9 out of 10, you know? In my opinion, it would easily be a 10 out of 10 server if I could get the same ping I got on Lunar. And, you know, the staff thing is a little bit of a problem, in my opinion. All right, now let's talk about Lunar a little bit. So for Lunar, let's start with pros. Again, you know we always start in positive. I get much better connection, as I've talked about already. I'll post a screenshot on screen right now. This is my ping on Lunar. And this is my ping on minemenclub. That's a pretty big difference. A huge pro Lunar has is a West Coast proxy. I don't know the last time there was a West Coast proxy was probably back in West Kohi, which is about, I don't know, 7 years ago, almost 8 years ago now. It's what the community needed, but unfortunately it's slept on and nobody plays on it. All the West Coast players play on East, and I'm victim of this too. I play on East because no one plays on West. Nobody plays on West till much later in the day. And when people do play, it's no more than 5. You know, I've never seen more than at most 10 people on West, and probably when it first came out. And this might sound a little more biased, like I've stated twice already, but I do feel like the staff is more friendly, caring, and understanding. Of course, no staff team is perfect though, you know what I mean? And Lunar does have a good anti-cheat. Despite minemenclub being better, Lunar still has a pretty solid anti-cheat. They still banned a lot of cheaters, you know? Lunar has not only practice, but stuff like Soup, which is a really fun game mode in its own. Then again, minemenclub is a practice server. It's only meant for practice. And another pro for me is that the pop PvP on Lunar is a much smoother experience, and I'm sure a lot of people from the pop PvP community can agree with this. minemenclub easily carries like rod PvP, but Lunar is the same way with carrying pop PvP, and how it, in my opinion, is just much better, and it's a better experience, and the lower ping could also have a play in this. But in general, for a while, back when I used to get the same ping on Lunar and minemenclub, I would still prefer Lunar any day. This is kind of a good segue into my cons, so let's go on to that. Let's talk about some cons of Lunar. I feel like they only care about pop PvP, you know? I feel like build UHC is just disregarded as a whole. The rods on Lunar, despite me only having 65 ms, but a rod from Minemen Club with their rod optimization, it just makes it look so much better. It feels like a better touch. But of course, I would probably still rather be on Lunar's low ping rods, but the buckets ruined it for me on Lunar. I have to pick it up like 5 times to get my lava or water back, or I'll get it on my screen and then run into it. So I feel like they don't really focus on practice anymore on Lunar, which kind of sucks. And it kind of raises the question, what is there to focus on if there's not teams anymore? Just soup? For practice, I've noticed they only added boxing and pearl fight when they did the practice update. When the new season came out, I expected there to be a ton of kits because logging on Minemen Club, you just have a double chest full of kits to choose from. Then you log on to Lunar, you still have that same row and a half. Lunar used to have a ton of kits back in the day. I don't know if any of you remember this, probably like season 4, like a long time ago on Lunar. Lunar used to have classic and kits like that you just need on a practice server. The classic community is a thing on its own, and they are limited to Minemen Club, and that's it. They have nowhere else to go. And Minemen Club actually optimized the rods, and I'm pretty sure they optimized it specifically because of that kit. Of course, it helps overall in kits like Build UHC and just any other kit with a rod in general, because there is a community behind the classic kit. All right, we're gonna get on to the last con I have about Lunar, and this isn't necessarily even a bad con. It's the server side CPS cap. Once you hit about 21 CPS, you get kicked, and you have 3 chances. You get kicked 3 times and you will get banned. If you are consistently clicking 20 CPS, you will get kicked with a warning message saying, oh, you're clicking too fast, this is strike 1 out of 3, or something along those lines. And I understand that's a great thing to implement, especially for kits like no debuff, where if someone's clicking 20 CPS, it's literally like you're using anti-knockback. It's just not fun to fight, you know? But I feel like that could be removed for some kits, or at least upped. For example, for Sumo, that kit is dependent on clicking 20 CPS pretty much. And Pearl Fight, like those kids come from Hypixel, they're drag clicking, you know what I mean? Those kids are clicking 50 CPS. They're not used to like getting punished for it. A server side CPS cap is like needed and not needed at the same time. It contradicts itself. With butterfly clicking's rising popularity, it's such a common clicking method now that everyone on Lunar is getting punished who does it. Not literally everyone, but you know what I mean. With YouTubers like Bedless Noob and Juna who just click insanely high CPS, people are inspired by that and want to be like that, and they'll click that high CPS themselves thinking they can because these YouTubers can. And these YouTubers can. They can just get unbanned like that because they know staff. So now I want to get into some things that I can recommend that would help the practice community as a whole. In my opinion, I think Minemen Club should follow Lunar's host. Everyone I know gets better ping on Lunar. Even on Lunar's Europe host, I get about 120 to 140 ping, and I used to get 170, 180, and I still get 170, 180 on Minemen Club's EU host. I absolutely hate that I have to say this, but I feel like Lunar can change the CPS cap a little bit. I'm not even one that clicks 20 CPS. I've been kicked before for just butterfly clicking in lobby, like not even well fighting. I feel like that should be enabled only in kits like no debuff, build UHC maybe, classic, maybe boxing too. But then again, a lot of people that play boxing click 20. There really will never be a perfect practice server, unfortunately. And that's honestly a good thing, because there's more competition and more opportunities for other servers, like Minemen Club versus Lunar, Velt versus whatever their competition is, Cave or something, I have no idea. And personally, I think both servers could pick up more staff. So when people do get flagged for high CPS, they can be screenshotted and at least prove that they're legitimately clicking rather than holding left click or using macros. And I understand that's an absolute hassle. Screenshots take a lot of time, but that's also why I would recommend more staff. A lot of time, more people to divide it by, it'll just be better overall. And I think Lunar could improve by doing something as small as like adding tags to practice. For example, Minemen Club has these tags before people's name that people buy, and it supports the server and keeps it going. Lunar is only really running from the client. Nobody buys the expensive ass ranks on Lunar. The only people who really bought it back in the day were the people who played teams, because you need it for teams, for a shorter death ban, for all the perks that it comes with for teams. And unfortunate to say, but teams is not a thing anymore on Lunar, and it hasn't been for a while, and this is well known in the community. I could talk about this all day, so I'm going to end the video here. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're new, and have a great day, guys. Turn on post notifications.